Glad all of you made it today with the whatever that Spring Forward thing. I have a BlackBerry, whatever, those smartphones, I guess that's what they call them, and my phone outsmarted me because I set it forward an hour, and then last night, and then so this morning I got all ready and I was all ready to come, and then I looked at the clock and it was 5:30. I was so mad. But at least it's better because I guess I got here on time. So that would have been trouble if I fell back. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so I'm glad that you're here. I mean, that just means that we're inching closer to spring. We've had great weather. It's been a wonderful time. And so here we are, and we get to get to be even closer to Easter. As Sue was saying, we're experiencing Lent right now. And I hope you're taking time to be involved in this season of Lent where we get to take time and reflect on God and reflect on our lives and see where we need to be with God and where we need to be with Jesus Christ and how we can be Christ's love in this world. And this is a season to do it. And as I always say, you can never start Lent too late. So if you haven't started doing anything, it's never too late to start. So I encourage you to continue doing that stuff that's preparing your way for that. But we're doing a sermon series that's leading us to Easter, and even in a lot of ways it's leading us to Maundy Thursday, the Seder meal that we'll be doing on Maundy Thursday. And I encourage you to take part in the Seder meal. It is really cool. And I wish I could give better detail, but it's just really cool. I mean, where else do you get to eat nuts and grapes and raisins and lamb? I mean, so anyway, I hope that you, I don't eat the lamb, but I hope that you look forward to that and you sign up and you take part in that Maundy Thursday service. But we're in a time right now, I think, in our culture and our world. I mean, American Idol has been around has it been 8 or 9 seasons? Anybody? Is this the 9th? Thank you. And this may be the last. Who knows? I don't know. But it's the 9th season of it, and we've been infatuated by a culture. It's been something that I'm sure all of you are excited because it's down to the top 12 now. You know, it starts off with thousands of people trying to be the next American Idol, which is a singer, and it's narrowed down to Hollywood Week, and then it's narrowed down to 24, and then it's narrowed down to 12. And so, but it's interesting though. I remember when it came out, American Idol, and they were brave enough to throw Idol into the title. And I'm going to rhyme the rest of the service. Anyway, and so they put Idol into that title, and it's interesting because, in essence, I mean, that's what we want, right? More people who likes idols. You know, we like to have the superstar athlete. We like to have their jersey. We like to have the bands that we follow. We like to have those things that are up there and out there. And this is a show that does that. Well, today, in essence, we're dealing with a wilderness idol, and that's the story of the golden calf. The story of Moses, the story of Moses being with the people. Remember, Moses led the people out of Pharaoh's hand, and then with the 10 plagues, and then the Red Sea and all this stuff. And then he deals with these Israelites, God's chosen people. And Moses goes away up to Mount Sinai. And what does Moses find? What does Moses do on Mount Sinai? He gets the 10 Commandments. He gets the 10 Commandments from God. And so he's away doing this stuff, trying to figure out ways to be able to come back down and tell these people, these God-chosen people, how to live their life. But while he is away, the God-chosen people just start losing faith. They start losing obedience. They start losing that obedience towards God. They in fact, give up on God. And that's sort of what we can do too. We have idols, right? We have stuff like that. We give up on them. But they give up on God. They give up on God, and in essence what they're doing is they're finding something to replace God. And so in our scripture lesson today, we're just going to read the first 6 verses of Exodus 32, 1 through 6. And let's look at this, and I'll just read it here. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from Mount Sinai, where he was getting the 10 Commandments, they gathered around Aaron and said, now remember Aaron from the burning bush. Remember when Moses was trying to plead and say, man, I'm not good enough for this. I'm not awesome. I can't talk well. But my brother Aaron, he's good. He's good. Now remember that as we read the rest of this. They gathered around Aaron and said, come make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off the gold earrings that your wives and your sons and your daughters are wearing and bring them to me. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioned it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. Afterward they sat down and ate and drank and got up and indulged in revelry. So here it is. Here it is that these people pretty much abandoned God. There's no question about it. They abandoned God. And the moment that God's presence seemed to withdraw from them, their response was to attach themselves to something else. The moment that God wasn't around, the moment that they couldn't see Him, they just attached themselves to what they could, what was next. And so that was the golden calf. And I think often we as believers in Christ, we that call ourselves Christians, we understand that we're not supposed to talk about idols, right? If we were in church and talking, well, I idolize this, we would probably be like, get our hand smacked by, a Sunday school teacher. I don't know. We don't do that. That doesn't, whoops. Marcia's going to get phone calls. What's going on in Sunday school? No, let me look at the camera. We don't do that. Okay. And so, but I think as Christians, we don't talk about idols, but what we do instead is that we hide them. We hide these idols that we have. We hide these things that, in essence, comes between us and God, and in fact replaces God. We hide them, and then we also just ignore them. We ignore them. And so I think that's something that's going on in our lives, that we hope that we don't have these idols, but if we do, we're either hiding them or ignoring them. Something that we need to make clear, though, in this passage that we had, they were not, the people that built this golden calf, they were not pagans. They were not just the out and about doing dumb stuff. These were God's chosen people. These were Israelites that turned their back on God. All right? We need to make that for sure. It isn't just some wishy-washy thing. This was the real deal. These were people that knew God. These are people who followed God out of Egypt with faith that God was taking them to the promised land. And they turned their back on God. All right. So I think the first thing that we need to understand, because I think what we're trying to figure out today is what are the modern golden calves in our lives. But the first of all is an idol often reflects the culture that you live in, right? I mean, when we look at the American Idols over the seasons, over the 9 seasons, they all look a little bit different. They all have a little bit of a different style, right? But that's how the culture has changed over the 9 years. We don't see, today's stars still, they don't look nice like they used to, with the hats and all that stuff. But they maybe wear their jeans a little baggier, I don't know. But anyway, but that's what it often reflects, the culture, the idols, the things. So you have to understand that these idols are impacting us because they're all around us. The advertisements that are around us. The culture reflects that. And so we need to be aware of what's going on in our culture. And who knows, maybe we're even worshiping that. And so I think we often turn to the familiar, what we're familiar with, what we're comfortable with, to fill a need, right? So if something's all around us, if something is pretty much in the culture today, it's familiar to us, so we turn to that. The second thing is that I think there's in a culture, in idols, it's a repetitive nature to it. We keep doing it. And so there's that part, there's that aspect to it, and having an idol for today. What the idol looks like in our culture today is that there's a repetitive nature to it. We keep going back to the television. We keep going back to the restaurant. We keep going back to the bar. We keep going back to the internet screen, or whatever it may be, the computer screen, the internet screen. But we keep going back to that. We have that repetitive nature in us. And the third thing and the final thing is that it competes with God. Whatever competes with God is something that is a current cultural idol of today. Whatever competes with God. So what is it that keeps you from worshiping God? Let it be sleep, whatever happens on Sunday morning, or what keeps you from joining the midweek study, what keeps you from doing things that would honor God with your life.